Yo, 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 what's happening? Welcome to Music Money Mindset presented by HRDRV.com. I am your host, Tony Robbins. So basically, today we're going to talk about that ugly little thing called money. And where is the money in our business? Where is the money in our industry? I'm going to let everybody connect, but that is the topic of discussion today. We'll talk about different mindsets and our relationship with finance, because I just listened to a few books over the last couple of weeks, and it is something that comes up every now and again, because for me, I'm so kind of detached from the idea of like just where the money is or what's happening with the money. I feel like a lot of times we prioritize the work and the feeling that we get from the work, that dopamine hit of like being either creative or like getting good results on some type of campaign that we're pushing, some new record. And so a lot of times you see those memes and the jokes on socials about, oh, I'd rather be working on a brand new song and I got 20 unfinished songs. And that's because you're not doing the business. And that's something that I have to say with emphasis to a lot of creators often, because you're just not doing the business. So today we're going to talk about what part of the business are you not doing and why, because there's no reason. You go get a haircut, you got to pay them. You go get a sandwich, you got to pay them. You make music, it's like, oh, I don't know, one day I might make some money. It's like, why do we perceive it that way? We know it's a business. So where are we transacting business? And I'll leave that as the first question. Where are we all transacting business, and what kind of business are we transacting? Anybody, not all at once. I know it's a scary topic. Don't be afraid. You're amongst friends.
Service-based business.
This is a safe space. Okay, Gio said service-based business. Okay, so elaborate. What is a service-based business within the music space, and what is yours?
All right, so what we do is we are giving the service of entertainment and as well as education, depending on what we're doing for music. And that's what I'm doing, actually.
Okay, so we're doing the entertaining part, and the what else?
The educating part and information part.
Okay, I like that. Information is a very positive and multi-layered business, because then there are ways to teach creators on what else is going on. I mean, when I'm faced with some creators that ask me like, well, what else could I be doing right now? Like, things aren't moving fast enough. What else could I be doing right now? Immediately in my head, I guess maybe just from continuous repetition, yes to administration. For me, there's a thousand things depending on the type of artist and the type of corner and niche you want to end up in. And I say niche, not the way that you're going to hear it from like social media. More so, you really have to get extremely specific about where your success is going to be. Where are you going to find it? Shout out James, shout out Robert Bills, shout out Cam Kenzo. So where is it going to come from? Where are you going to get that feeling of like accomplishment, right? Because if you woke up today and you could do anything you wanted, money aside, you got $1 million in the bank account, like, okay, cool. What are you going to get up and do today? Because a lot of times we think that if we had exorbitant amounts of money, that we would probably stop. Like, we'd be like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation. How long can you be on vacation? Like, and this is not trying to get too far down a rabbit hole of like, potentials and hypotheticals, but like, if you just have money and you get up and get to choose what to do every day, and you're only thinking about leisure, there's almost a lack of connection to any kind of purpose, right? And so wanting that purpose, feeling that purpose is directly connected to what are the hundreds of steps that you could be taking right now to make your business better, right? So for Gio, how many things can you come up with if you just were sitting today right now, 12:05 on a Sunday on the West Coast, and say to yourself, I'm not in this meeting on Music Money Mindset. What could I be doing to improve my business? Just off the top of your head, what's one thing you could be doing to improve your business right now?
I mean, I'm doing it right now. I'm updating, w- well, I'm auditing what it is I do as far as services, and I'm updating my client list as well as my services menu.
Okay.
And
Update
I'm doing that
service.
right now. I'm actually doing that right now.
That brings up a good point that I want to get into in a little bit, but I'm going to ask around a little bit more. So, considering that we could all be multifaceted creators or creatives, because you can be creative in a non-creatorship career, right? You could be creative being the head of, I don't know, accounting at a motor company, right? Like you could be creative in so many different places and ways that, how are we transacting business? I want to get to that basic fact first. Like right now, if I ask Chase, if you got a second, I know you're in the library. What are you doing to transact business right now? What is your business model per se?
Well, to your previous question, as far as like things that you could be doing, like for myself, like I knew that I needed to like learn how to better optimize paid ads. And so I went through all the digital marketing courses that were free and all the Google Garage courses. All this was free, and just tested myself, to see how, in depth of the knowledge that I knew. And there were so many things that I learned that I just like, brushed over. And there's also stuff that I was like, oh, I know that. So for me, if I can be as effective like with marketing and with finding those ad placements for my clients, then they're going to want to come back and do more business. So it was just, if I have free time, like, why not optimize? So that's what I'm doing like right now.
Optimization is key. I think that could be. I think a lot of times we're looking at it like I would optimize when I'm getting it right, right? When I'm doing the business already, there's a place where I need to optimize. You could be optimizing all the time. And I think that we get bogged down with thinking that we need to be very rigid. Like I made this choice. I'm going to be an engineer, so I got to make money off of engineering only, and like that's it. And it's like you're sitting there and you're literally, I've seen it, and it's nobody's fault. It's just a lack of experience. You will sit and wait for the next job. You're sitting and waiting for the next client to find you or to hear from a friend and be excited and say, hey, like, oh, such and such gave me your information. I need to work with you. And you're like, yes, like that's where you get that flex, you feel good, you stretch out and you're like, okay, it's go time. But like that was a month and a half in between. Or like if you're a songwriter, like you're waiting to be invited into sessions. Like why is there waiting is the question. And the reason I say that is because bills don't wait, right? The rent doesn't wait. I mean, there's people that sit around and they're looking to you for what the next step might be. Like you might have a team where everybody's kind of similarly experienced, but you might be someone because you're in this meeting, you're in MMM. I'm looking at you like you are somebody that is taking initiative, that is taking steps, that is learning more about what needs to be done. So you might be the person that everybody's kind of waiting on also, and just not knowing what that next step is. So I think we need to go from the very zoomed out, I want to be successful, I want to have hit records, the number ones, all the good stuff. We have to zoom all the way down and what's the next step? Like where am I standing right now? And what is the next literal cement block on this lake that I can just walk across and start getting from place to place? So this is brought on again by having listened to not necessarily financial books, but they're related. Like for example, Simon Sinek is a great read. Simon Sinek is a futurist in business. He's very, yeah, I know, I love that. Shout out Solo for that picture for your PFP. So Simon Sinek, I listened to the entire book of, and it's the name's escaping me right now, but that book it was based on the practices, the infinite game. Thank you. It's based on the practices that businesses take. And a lot of it has to do with almost like being very rigid in how they approach things. And it reminded me so much of creatives because we're in a creative environment, yet we want to be so rigid. Like we've seen the business in whatever distant form. Like we think we seen the business from making the band, or maybe your uncle knows some writers and like you've been in sessions since you were 8 years old. Like you've seen the business from a lot of different angles. So you try to be rigid because you think somehow the business could be rigid. And by being rigid, maybe there's some operations and some systems where you're going to be able to leverage, and you're going to get, making money, and you're going to be able to get making checks happen. One of the lessons that I got from one of our professors in music school was that he had to chase down Sony and go from he was in the shower and he got called. He was calling Sony back to back. And the secretary called him and said, "We still don't have your check." So he jumped out of the shower. He drove down to Sony and he said, "Jennifer Lopez is not going to get this record if you don't pay me today." And like, he was a very meek, awesome, nice person, but like, felt like he was being poked. He felt like he had to go down there, and he seemed like a super passive person. But like when he was saying the story, I knew he was seconds from turning into Suge Knight. Like he was going to go down there and wreck some shit if he didn't get paid. And he was like, "Jennifer Lopez will not get the finished version of the record because you're not getting it until I get paid." And they cut him a check. That's the craziest part of some parts of the business, right? Is that
seconds from Suge is crazy though. I just want to make that very clear.
he was there. He was there. He was ready. It was precipitating, if you feel me. So, he literally was like, okay, so for 3 to 6 months, they were playing games and saying it was going to get mailed, but he goes down there and causes a scene and they write him a check in 5 minutes. Like that's a lot of this, stagnation and a lot of stuff that I hope that you never deal with, because Hard Drive is here giving you access, giving you information on how to avoid these things. And yes, sometimes it's going to feel like we're going to miss an opportunity or we're going to miss out on this thing. Oh man, I'm not on the Game's new album. Fuck that album. You're not getting paid. You're not getting taken care of. You're not being appreciated. Fuck that. Don't deal with that. There is too much other stuff going on at the same time that nobody controls. Nobody controls the creator influx that is happening right now, that is just blowing up, that creators and listeners are going to end up close to being a 1-to-1, because it used to be that you couldn't sing and you couldn't record and you couldn't go to a studio because you weren't cool enough, you weren't good enough, you didn't know such and such as uncle that could get you in on the off hours when nobody was working. Like that, none of that shit matters anymore. So we need to get straight to that before we can start looking at how we can capitalize on what we can do. But I'm going to go to Chase because you've had your hand up for a minute. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, so like one of the things that I noticed in this business is it's really easy to, like, in two ways, only focus on one thing that you're good at and then miss out on all the other things that you could be working on or being a part of. And then also spreading yourself too thin and being able to be the jack of all trades and fit in any role. So that, which, the bad result is that you become, what's the right word? Disposable, expendable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So I just wanted to hear your thoughts on that.
100%. Thank you for that feedback. I love that. And I think that because we are stubborn, like you are stubborn as fuck. You're sitting there and you're like, I'm good at this. I'm good at this and I like this. I want to do only this. Okay. Check it out. Only this. You're gonna be waiting a long fucking time if you don't know what to do right here, right now. If you're not, and even if you know what to do, I think it was Elevate that gave me this acronym for POUR, which is passing over opportunities repeatedly. And I was like, bro, I damn near threw my laptop across the living room. I was like, wait, say that again. She was like, passing over opportunities repeatedly. I was like, fuck, like this is the TVMA MMM today, because it's too much. Like, and there was recently a tweet happening, and a friend, kind of a distant friend, was like saying how they had gotten screwed over. A tale as old as time. The part that really bugged me was that as she is venting about getting screwed over and doing months worth of work and not getting paid, this guy who has ran a recording studio for 26 years in Chicago pipes up and retweets with his quote, "Tell me you've been in the music business for 5 minutes without telling me." And I was like, what a dickhead. Like, what a super dickhead. I don't care if I've been in the music business 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I'm getting screwed and not getting paid. There's never a time that that's acceptable. Like, we have these premises and thoughts about, oh, well, that's just the music business. Like, oh, that's just that asshole uncle is gonna, randomly come up and punch you in the ribs, and you don't even know him like that. And he's like, hey, what's up, kid? And you're like, what the fuck, dude? Get away from me. I don't know you like that, right? So like, you're in a business where you create the business. Let's just all get clear on that. You are the business. Whatever you choose to do as your business, this is your business. So don't let anybody tell you how it's supposed to be ran, one. And two, make decisions based on what you can do, not what you want to do. Like, the want is so strong, and that comes potentially sometimes from ego, which is fine. There's a time and a place for that. But if you're Chase, for example, may have come into this and said, I'm going to be the next whoever, Prince, right? Like, I don't know, he loves making that kind of music, he's going to be the next Prince. And he's like, you know what, but I'm actually really good at communicating, and then I'm actually really good at marketing. So you might be slowing up certain bags that are very much in connection with what you could be doing, but because you are, I'm only this, I only want to be this, you're very much stopping up the opportunity, which might be a huge block, and you're putting it through a keyhole. You're only saying, I only want this much opportunity, I only want this much success, when you could be flourishing. And you know what? I can give you my experience, because I never want to make it sound like I know what's right, and Johnny's been around and all this other shit. No, bottom line is, from my experience, being fluid and flexible, and being able to put a hand wherever I see somebody struggling, wherever I see somebody like, this is a lot of weight, and maybe they're like, no, I got it. And you're like, I can help you. Like, let me just help you just a little bit. Let me just help. Like, being in that position has brought me every opportunity that I care about, every opportunity that I sit here and I say, I'm so happy about that. And my biggest flex is not a job or a finished product. My biggest flex is my network. My biggest flex is the people that I know, because if I work with you, I can rely and trust you that we're going to do good business, that you're not going to fuck me and be like, hey, bro, I don't know, you did all this work and I'm not going to pay you. Like, that's not something that happens with me, not because I'm Johnny, not because of anything else. And it shouldn't be because I'm a male and whatever. I don't know. There's that inherent like set amount of respect more for a male in male driven industries versus women, which is wrong. But bottom line is, I've gotten to that point where I have a gut instinct about how things go. And if I haven't worked with you before, you're probably going to get a contract. You're probably going to get an invoice. You're going to get dealt with in a certain manner, because I don't know who you are and I don't want to not trust you. So we're going to start off kind of like a teacher in the beginning of a school year. You're going to start off with an A, and only you can fuck that up. So you start off with the A, and if we got good trust, then that A, you're going to be an A student forever in my book. And if you go and fuck that up, then you're probably not even going to be in my book. You're not going to be somebody that I'm trying to call, not somebody I'm trying to work with, all of that, right? And so I think that when we are so conditioned to believe that we have to be so good at any one thing, that we are definitely missing out on just being flexible and like being able to show up. If you're a vocalist, you probably can be a producer. And I hear that so much. Oh, I could never be a producer. I get it. It's scary. There's maybe more steps that you would take to be a producer, but being a producer for me now is somebody that can project an idea from a sound in their head, project that idea onto a recording. I feel like anybody could do that, but there's this inherent fear about where I stand and what I do, and I don't want the wrong people to see me as this thing, because then they'll just call me that thing, right? It's like you're avoiding boxes while trying to be in just one box. And it's a scary, scary thing, because when I think about your business is going to suffer for you not being flexible enough to find out. You might have a calling that is telling you to be in one place, but you might have a skill or talent or a gift that might be so lucrative that it might fund this other side. So do not shut yourself off to opportunities is what I'm saying. And we're going to get to more about getting to the bag in a second. I'm going to jump into this chat real quick, check out what's going on. Production is infinite. Olivia Rodrigo just now learning how to be a producer. Okay. I mean, I'm sure that she's been around enough producers. She knows kind of the vibe. Your network is most often more valuable money-wise than a one-off project, 100%. And that's the thing, is like, we get scared off from trying different things because, again, back to kind of like that first person even wanting to go on social media or be able to market ourselves or market our products or whatever, we're always fearing rejection. We're fearing the sense of failure. But something that I had a call with Brittany on earlier this week, I was describing how there's a sense of feeling, which is like a gut instinct, like a guiding instinct. And then there's like the feelings that we all subjectively will go through. It's basically just a circle of emotions, right? We've got happy, sad, scared, anxious, not feeling so hot, like all of those things. The feeling that I'm talking about, always follow your gut, because there has to be, Michaela described it perfectly, where it is nonverbal. We don't know exactly what to call it sometimes, but there's something that might tell you, go do this. And following that, it might not work. Leadership is not making the right decision all the time. Leadership is making a decision and then being able to work with whatever comes from that decision and constantly making decisions. That's why people are not feeling like they could be leaders, but you have to be a leader in your own career. Like at the very least, you have to lead yourself, right? Lead yourself to help, even if you're not going to be the end person that is going to fix things. Lead yourself to the mechanic that can fix your car, because you need to drive 1,000 miles, etc. Right? So lead yourself to the best possible outcome until you learn better, right? And don't be passing over opportunities. Don't be poor, right? POOR. So all of that was on my heart, because when I think about our creators, I'm not thinking like, oh yeah, cool, they got it. Like, I don't care if you've been in this business 20 years, this business is still changing. So you could still be doing things that are a little bit easier, a little bit faster, a little bit more fluid. Back to what Chase was saying about optimization, always reframing and trying to look at it from a flexible standpoint. Being stagnant will keep you trying to sell VHS and rent out VHS when everything's going to Blu-ray and DVD, and then even worse, right? Because then it's not physical. Now everything's a download. Now everything's a stream. So being stagnant and forcing this rigid perspective, for me, I've seen people stand on their soapbox until they're standing by themselves. And it sucks, because these are people that I have a lot of respect for. And like, then essentially they become somebody that others see as, oh, they need something, so I can hire them for cheap, or I can get them for less because they're not hot, they're not flexible, they're not figuring out the business as fast as I am, so I can put them on the payroll, right? And like, that's kind of the vibe of careers and capitalism, is that if you're not working for your dream, you're working for somebody else's dream, right? You're funding somebody else's vacation while you're not even taking a damn vacation, right? So all of those things were on my heart. I want to hear how we're making money. You can put it in the chat. You can jump off mute. How are we making money, people? Because Gio said earlier he's doing services. I know Chase has services he offers. What are you doing to make money in and around your music right now?
I'll jump in and share. This is Aya. I'll say that. Hello, it was a murder. I'm just kidding. Murdered us. You murdered us. Love you guys. I'm a customer success associate, so I work a 9 to 5. It's more like a 9 to 6. And yeah, that's how I make money. It's not my passion, but you know what? That's just where I'm at in life, and I'm accepting that. And don't love it, but don't hate it,
Absolutely. And there's this mystical shame about, I have a 9 to 5. I don't care if I got 3 9 to 5s. I'm here. I'm making music. I get to do what I love to do. Like, there's no shame in being able to fund what it is that you love to do. at some point, yes, deep down inside, or even just on the surface, creatives would love to just make that pivot and everything music related. I only make music all day, every day. Yes, that I feel like that is fully the definition of a dream, because most 90% of successful music professionals that I know, they're doing 5 different things. There's nobody that's like, yep, I just sit back and wait for my royalty checks. Nobody is doing that at all. So Isidore, go ahead.
You always call on me when I'm on another screen.
Oh.
I too work a 9 to 5. I wasn't for a while, and then I went back. And it's actually more like a 7:30 to 6, because I only work 4 days a week. But that helps me, because for my mental health and also for like other things, it's good for me to have 3 days off in a row. Why is everyone laughing? Hi, Aya. It's lovely to see you here. So yeah, I work in an insurance industry and things like that, and so I'm able to leverage that money to be able to invest in the things that I'd like to do. I also have services. People do tend to pay me for my features. Depending, and like Johnny was saying, if we've not worked together in the past, I'd have a contract or have certain agreements and things like that. It changes that definitely based on if it's a passion project or not. Give me a number 2. Okay, sorry. So yeah, I also do voice acting, and people pay me for that as well. And clearly, and yeah, and I also I'm actually from Brooklyn, y'all. Like this is a joke. But I also sell my music as NFTs from time to time. And so that's something that also allows me to bring in income directly from my craft, but also related to my craft. And I don't want to resent my music work. And so a good way to do that is by having another form of income, because it's too easy to focus on all the ways that music doesn't pay our bills at this current stage. Not that it won't, because I have unwavering belief that it will one day, and music and all the other endeavors that it leads me to, but not, relying solely on the music, or streaming, or, royalties of any kind, or just services, for me, allows me to have more peace of mind. And I'm a better artist when I have peace of mind. So.
All right, guys, that does it. I'll see you in a week. Peace. Yo.
Oh my God.
Absolutely. The way you just broke that down, let me tell you, because what your craft and what your creativity really needs, I was joking with my dad and I was like, yeah, I'm baby proofing the house. And he's like, for what? I'm like, the millions. And he's like, okay. I'm like, I mean, yo, shout out to all the parents. I'm like, the way people be baby proofing and trying to set, little spaces and make sure that there's no sharp corners in the house, I'm trying to do that for the bag, right? And so I'm joking with my dad because he's very in tune with like finance, and he's like trying to tell me about what's coming next and, the devaluation of the dollar and all these things. But yes, so for your creativity to flourish, I'm going to tell you one of the things that was speaking to me while Isidore was speaking was that trying to impress your colleagues and who you think are your homies is going to keep you broke. Like trying to look cool and trying to be like, damn, like, yeah, all I do is music. Like that shit's going to keep you broke as fuck. And the reason is that you're going to do all the shit that you think is supposed to be happening for you. And you're going to go rent out that studio, and you're going to go get that Lambo in your video. And you're going to be sitting there at the end of the month going, damn, like, yeah, I got enough for a Whataburger and fries. Like, fuck it. I'm going to do the ramen for the next 2 weeks so I could, make sure that I keep it looking good. Stop lying to yourself. I don't care who else you lie to, but don't lie to yourself. You know what I mean? Like making it look good has a time and place, but you got to do the work behind it. It's not enough for it to just look good. People plink that little veneer away and go, it ain't there yet. And that's the worst thing, is that people that care don't care about those things. They care about you, and they don't want to see you struggle. They don't want to see you feel like, man, I don't know where I'm going to do the next thing at. I got to go and figure it out now. It's like, yo, no need to struggle in this industry.
And if you're
your business,
you around the wrong people. Because the
Yes.
people who fuck with you for real are not going to be okay with you lying and being in those scenarios where you have to be inauthentic. They don't like you for real. And like, you have to have that conversation with yourself about why are you so conditioned and so excited to cosplay for people who don't fucking like you.
I got more on that in a second. I'm gonna go to these hands. Michael.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, just piggyback off that, when I first moved out here to California, I had a group of friends that I got linked up with when I moved out here, and they're all influencers, millions of likes and stuff on TikTok and everything. And so, we were going out, everything was like, like the Lady Gaga speech, club, bus, another club. And for a while, I got into the habit of, I need to start buying designer because I got to start fitting in with these friends. And eventually it got to the point where I was I was in debt. I was maxing out credit cards for these people that I realized every single time we hung out, it was always, hey, bring your camera. It was never, hey, let's hang out because I actually want you here. And there was a period of time for probably the first year where I moved out here to California, when I got myself in these debt for these air quote friends to try to like show that I'm something different. It was just so that I can streamline their content. And now I decided this year I was going to experience some stuff for myself. So I spent an arm and a leg on a Beyonce ticket. But I got a really good seat. But
the biggest perv.
I think the biggest thing right now is for work that I work in a middle school. And so I am an instructional assistant for students with disabilities. And the reason why I chose this, I only make probably $1,600-$1,700 once a month in like San Diego, which is crazy, talking about how expensive everything is. But I get all the school breaks to be able to go and create my craft. Like right now, we're about to go on summer break. So I have a full 3 months that I get to just dedicate that to elevating my craft and elevating my business. And getting those shoots that are going to take me to the next level. So the pay isn't that great, but I know that money is like water, and the more that I can go and focus my craft and get out there on these breaks where I have this time period to create, the closer I'm going to be to making the cash that I need to eventually go full time with photography.
Absolutely. And we got to remove that I just make or I only make. You make enough. You make enough to take care of you. You are responsible. You are a fucking G for that. Don't let anybody play you. Like, you're able to do what you love. And a lot of times it's because of maybe protecting our inner child and being able to live in our inner child and know that we are an adult, being able to do what we love to do. That is important. That is self-actualization. Shout out to Maslow. So I'm gonna go to Brittany.
Hey everyone. So a bunch of thoughts kind of came to mind as everyone's been talking, but I'm also the 9 to 5 club. I will say when I first moved to LA, I had 2 jobs and I could like barely afford still to pay my rent and stuff. So now I've reached a point where that's allowed me the stability to work on my craft and like pay producers and pay people, not have to think twice about it. But something Isidore made me think of as far as the 9 to 5, and before I get to that, it's like if it can create that stability for you and that peace and like take care of your hierarchy of needs, I think that's really important as a foundation. But something Isidore said made me think of the book The Martian, and I'm pretty sure he wrote that and had a 9 to 5 or something similar. But there's so many people in LA that have a dream that isn't their job, and they're always talking about their script or their acting career, all these things, but it's like they're not putting that time in. So, of course, all of us are putting the work in and the time in. So I guess the 2 things I really wanted to focus on is that I'm really grateful for my 9 to 5 because it provides stability. But if you don't have a job that's creating that stability, like working towards stability first, so you can have that foundation and peace of mind. So you're not like, wondering, where your next meal is coming from and whatnot is really important too. And then the last thing I want to say, as far as like how am I making money with music, something I'm really excited to start up is like a streaming platform for sharing my songwriting process, selling songs on hard drives, getting more songs out and royalties. sync placement. So that's all stuff I've been working on, but I'm going to be more aggressive with that once I get like I'm starting a new job soon. So once I get my new schedule down for that.
Hell yes, absolutely. And to that, it's the idea that you got money coming in, money is happening, and money is a means, it's a tool, and you're going to leverage that, right? And so you're able to use one for the other, but always make sure that you are taking care of you. That is like the most paramount message, because the amount of people that I've seen step away, quote unquote, sometimes they don't come back, sometimes they come back in a year or two, which is more than fine. But I can tell that it's because they're literally burning the candle on both ends. You don't need to do that. Find a way to where you don't have to struggle just to make this happen, because we're often trying to impress people that don't matter. So I love that. Thank you, Brittany. Hector?
Hey, Hard Drive fam. Thanks so much again for this amazing space, Johnny. So I don't know if I've ever, maybe I have said this in the past, but just really letting sink in that, yeah, I do live with my parents. And so that gives me a lot of flexibility in terms of how I can circulate my income and my time. Like, of course, I still contribute to the bills and all that, but it's not like I'm paying thousands of dollars in rent or anything. Just being able to really take advantage of the situation that I'm in and being able to generate income from building websites and coaching and merch and feature performances, just really streamlining on what resonates most with my community and with myself has been really enlightening through all of that, because, even though I've been focused more on being more open about my creative coaching, what's come along the way is opportunities for things that are like building a funnel or building a website. And like when those came up for me at first, maybe I was a little hesitant because it wasn't exactly what I ideally would love to do. But when I really dove into it, I really found that it was a way for me to build my skill set even more while helping other people, while also helping myself. And so that's been a really interesting way that I've been seeing this journey, is even when I'm focusing so much on this one thing that I know that I want to do in the long term, the opportunities that come along the way, I've done my best to not cut those off because they've really been helpful along the way. So yeah, just really taking advantage of different methods of income has been really helpful.
And you don't have to just choose one and say, okay, well, I got this job, so now, this is it. I mean, my wife was at a job for 14 years. COVID came and totally wiped out her ability to be a part of that work culture. They deleted that entire department, and they basically said, your skill set that we gave you for 14 years is no longer applicable to our new business model. So throughout the pandemic and everything, they had severance and all that other crazy stuff. And so she had to pivot, and she was really scared to. And I had to, find a way to just let her know that it was going to be okay. Because I've been like a feral raccoon for so long that I'm like, I live this, freelance street life. I was like, it's all good. We're going to figure it out. But she was very scared, and having to find a way to just say, okay, are you sure? And I'm like, the money's running out, whether we're sure or not, we got to do it. She's like, okay, all right. And her sister's a bartender, so it worked out perfect. She got to learn something new. She enjoys her career now, and it's kind of the best of both worlds, but that's a rare case. And my message behind that is just keep plugging away, find something else. If it's not really resonating with you, there's no amount of money that is worth your dignity and for you to feel proud of what you do. Like, yes, sometimes we gotta eat that porridge that we don't want, but constantly be reframing and finding a new way, and build the bridge before you jump. You don't have to just jump, build the bridge, build a tiny little cushion so that you're not just out there bumping around, catching bruises and scrapes. I'm gonna go to architect.
Before I went full time in music, like I used to do property inspection, I used to do Uber and Lyft, basically stuff that would I can control my time and stop at any given moment to go do like stuff in music or anything I needed. But like it's a bunch of ways that you can make money in music, and whatever, you just got to be creative about it. And you could like search on Google, like stuff I do songwriting, I do sync, sell beats, engineering, and something that slept on is also like if you listen, like let's say you're driving and you hear like radio, like your local radio ads, right? Well, if you hear people like companies and stuff like mom and pop shops or whatever with I guess like radio commercials, they're spending money on the radio commercials and they have music behind them. So what you can do is you can reach out to those mom and pop shop, those companies, and offer music services to them, or whether like write them a jingle. Jingle writing is big. People sleep on that. I do content creation. I guess like videos for different companies and stuff promoting their product. You can do that. Another thing that's really slept on is just post what you do. Like post what you do. Like if you're a music, like if you make beats, post a beat video, because that can bring you business. Is it going to do it right away? Probably not. But like if you do it continuously, consistently, then like you'll make somebody's going to reach out to you for your service. Like if you're a good singer, like do covers. I guarantee you eventually somebody's going to reach out to you to work with you, and you can tell them like, hey, thank you for reaching out. But in order for me to continue to do this, I do charge, start like at a price or whatever that's reasonable for both of you guys, you just got to be creative with the stuff that you do.
Thank you. Because that part right there, post what
you do. It's so important. Post what you do. It's so important, man. Like if you're a singer, post that you sing. Because like, man, like people need, I'm gonna tell you, like and man, like rap, how can I say this? A lot of rappers are lazy because they don't like writing hooks. If you are a singer, like and you are good at hooks or whatnot, like man, like have hook services or whatever, and then like link with a producer and do hooks to the beats or whatnot. So because in the day, rappers,
that's a cheat code right there.
Yeah, that's cheat code because rappers love just jumping on. All they gotta do is just do the verse to a beat that already has a hook in it. Like that itself right there brings in income.
And a catchy one at that. You right, because that's how Brianna Marin.
Yeah.
Brianna Marin is the GOAT at making a hook and being like, all right, your turn.
Like, and then another thing, like just man, network with people that know more than you. Like go network with people that know more than you, because you never know who you can meet. Like talk to people. Like even if it takes going to, I don't know, like a fancy restaurant and ordering a salad, knowing you're not going to buy a steak. Talk to people, figure out what they do, spark conversation. You never know who you're going to
meet. Also, ignore that feeling that you're like beneath working for your money, because I think all artists have that feeling where they're like, you know what I mean? Like I know so many people that don't want to act like they're below like celebrity artists. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And I think that's the silliest thing in the world.
Well, because that's the lie that we tell ourselves, right? That's the sell that we made to ourselves. We watch, whether it's people's, IG highlight reels and all this other stuff. Like, it's like, oh shit, like their life is so good. Why is my life so whack? Like, it's like, what? Like, what? I hardly even put anything on my stories that isn't like directly only the business. So people have no idea what I do on a regular basis. I'm like, I run businesses and I work at Hard Drive and I love my fucking life and I make music, like literally. And we joke with even Willis. He told me that we were sharing that people ask, like, do you still do music? Like, hey, you still doing music? Like, how's that little music thing going? And you're like, man, fuck you. Like, I don't even want to answer that sometimes.
How's that little thing going? It's like, how's that little thing and that I see you, or like,
and then
the two hating phrases.
I don't want to tell them like follow me like you would know, but it's like I'm like, you clearly don't give a fuck about who I am and like what I do. Like it's totally fine. I don't know what you're doing. Like I don't be keeping up with people's lives like that. So all of that madness, but yeah, stop pretending and stop trying to impress people that don't matter. And I'm gonna get to something that came up when Isadora was saying what she was saying, but I'm gonna go to Gazelle. Go ahead.
Hello. I was going to share what I've been doing So I'm in San Diego right now, dog sitting. Something that like I had to figure out some side hustles because I did the 9 to 5 thing for years. I've been working since I was 14 and I respect the hustle, but I also had to realize that I'm not a 9 to 5 person. I'm not like a put me in a box, literally in a cubicle kind of person. And as much as I know that that would bring stability, I had to find other avenues for myself that work for me. And like my ADHD and all the, all my little quirks. So dog sitting, home and office organizing, which is a side business that Johnny actually helped me kind of develop. Starting very slowly, but I'm OCD and I just had to find things that work for me. So I guess I just wonder how people like manage their time. Like, what does anyone have tips, especially 9 to 5 people? How do you carve out the time to stay passionate and to stay doing the music?
So I know I can't speak not necessarily from music standpoint, but I had a career consultation with Michaela. And something that has helped me because I have ADHD, I take medicine for it and everything. And I just, the 1,000 tabs open at one time that sometimes I just can't function. And the thing that has really saved my life, she got me on an app. I'll text it to you. Is
it Tick Tick? Because she love a Tick Tick.
Yeah. And literally scheduling.
I've tried all the apps. None of them work for me.
But I think sometimes though, if you can have like a visual schedule, something that you can literally plan out everything to the T, because there's just something about like me walking into my room. I have sticky notes all over my wall and they're colorful, right? So they draw me in because I'm focused on the colors and it's like, oh crap, I got to get this done. And literally all of that has kept me on track. And as I complete things, I pull down the stickies off my wall.
Biggest purr. Listen, sticky note gang. Like I used to, like when people would come over to my house, I'd be like, oh my God, I have to take my sticky notes down. Like, because they're gonna know that I need my life managed by physical tabs. I will also say, Gisele, like, as far as like from a mindset perspective, because I also am an ADHDer, but I'm medicated. I'm not gonna lie to you, Vivancia be saving my life some days, and that's just it. Like, and having a working relationship with my like healthcare team, but also framing like a perspective like switch of just like not that nothing works, but like things are working. Like you have to actually like literally reprogram your brain as far as like things are working. I have the avenues. For me, being a person that is, grappling with having ADHD, right? Having a job is what helps because I'm so annoyed and I have like the pathological like avoidance of like, I don't want to do my job and I don't want them to want anything from me, that it makes me more passionate about the things that I want to do. And I understand that may not be your path, but I've tried it both ways. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not stressed out about my finances. So that way I can, and I'm also annoyed enough at my job. So that way I can go do the things that I want to go do, because I wasn't doing them when I wasn't at the job, like at all, because that's how, things are set up. But I would say like if you have a person that you can help alter your mindset with, whether it's a therapist, a friend, or whomever, that's going to help you see the positive out of things, that's definitely going to help, I think. And if you need to explore medication with your healthcare team, I am not against it.
Oh, I'm definitely on medication. I've done all of those things. The one thing I haven't done is the physical sticky notes. I've done all the apps, the sticky note apps, and I'm a Google Calendar fanatic. So everything is color coded. So maybe I need to try the physical sticky notes.
I love it. I think the simplest form of feedback I can give you for that is make things a non-negotiable. Like just, it has to be done. Like 5 minutes, and this is something that Atomic Habits taught me. Shout out to Atomic Habits, is it is about just planting the seed at first of that one action or that one repetition. Because when we think about, for example, let's say it's working out, if you think about an hour of a workout, your body's already like, I don't want to do it. So, instead of that, it's like, okay, let's focus on breathing for 30 seconds a day. You absolutely could do that. There's no way you couldn't, but it's about just building on top of, okay, so now that time every day, you're repetitiously being just static about it and not letting it be something that you're like, oh, I'll do that later. Just that alone started to open up a lot of really, really good opportunity, success building practices for myself, because I would lose it. And I've needed to even develop, into having teams and having people that work with me so that I can, start to delegate, which is a practice that nobody can tell you about until they've been to that place in their business. So for me, it's just really making certain things a non-negotiable, and whatever you put your focus on will grow, and start measuring, because by measuring, you can see what's going on, whether it's like streams or even cash flow, like, having it written down, it works in your brain and in your spirit in a different way. So that's how I would do it. Architect?
Also, if you have camera equipment that you have sitting around that you don't use, go on YouTube, learn how to use it, and offer picture services. Have a package where I'll shoot you 100 pictures for this amount of money. Offer services. We got wedding season that's coming up, so they have a budget. Weddings usually have budgets, so take pictures for weddings. Same thing with you're a singer. Post singing videos, because people book singers for weddings.
And
So
I partnered with a friend of mine who does photography, and they were like, hey, if you ever want to tag along and be a wedding singer, just let me know. And it's opening doors for me to just tag along with somebody who already has an established audience.
exactly.
The chat was saying stop yelling at them, architect, because they know that you're talking about them.
I'm telling you, man, then with the having a camera is it's so underrated, because a lot of times you don't even have to give somebody a edit or whatnot. You just have to give them raw pictures, and then they do what they want with the pictures. You just have to understand just different camera angles.
I'm
And
sure
then you can go
Lopez would
YouTube
disagree as
University.
being a
Yeah,
professional photographer, but I mean, I think that what you're saying, what I'm taking from that is the creativity, right? The idea of being creative. We think about what we apply, what we can do. If I'm a writer, I'm thinking I can write you a song about it. But the creativity has to exist in the financial fiscal world as well. Get creative with how you're going to get that money, because somebody that is opportunity minded, somebody that is seeing opportunity and success any which way they can get to it, that is someone that is going to tell you there's money everywhere.
Yes,
people throw away things that are so useful and needed. You could clean something off. I mean, one of my favorite shows is Flea Market Flip. Why? I don't know. It's in the background. I'm just like, oh, damn, check it out. They put some screws and some wheels on this thing, and now they're going to go sell it. They got it for $15. They're going to go sell it for $300. I'm like, that's a crazy flip. Better than selling drugs. So, at the end of the day, you have to find whatever is within proximity to you so that you can provide for yourself, because every dollar, every bit that you make, and I'm not somebody that's going to subscribe to oh, well, save on $3 for your coffee. That's not going to make you rich. That's going to save you $900 for the year. What are you going to do with that $900? If you're not going to do anything with that $900, you might as well have the coffee, because you got to figure it out. That's something that you got to get to a place where you are moving forward and getting to more. That's usually most business practices is the answer is always just go make more and get creative about it. If I got to drive Uber, Postmates, and go do home inspections, the way I would pay to be a subscriber for Architect doing home inspections, him just flying around, what's up, y'all? Staying low.
Hey,
right. I would watch it.
I didn't seen so many dope houses when I used to do property inspection. I used to have the keys to pretty much every every I guess property that was in foreclosure in Houston. So we used to have to go in there, take pictures, from the outside and stuff, whatever. But they have property inspection in every state, whatever. And you basically set your own hours. You just have to have those houses done. And all you're doing is taking pictures. You're just taking pictures of whatever houses. And they pay you per house.
Ark has a secret TikTok account where he goes and says he just bought all these properties on every property he walks on. He's like, "Yep, just got this new 3-bedroom. What's up, y'all? Y'all trying
And
to
I
get
can
like
show
me? I
you
can
how I
verify
Yo,
it
it's
on
your boy.
Instagram."
It's your boy.
Ark
It's
be
your
getting you
boy. This
verified on
is how I'm
Instagram for
living.
$39
This is
a
how I'm
month.
living.
Like,
Oh
we
yeah.
ain't gonna stop him from
Oh yeah,
getting
and I
that
sell
bag.
verification badges too. You know, 42,
and
40,
if
42,
you click the
34 a
link,
month.
click the link in his bio. He's gonna show you how he flipped those properties, and the course is only $50.
Oh my, I love it. And then the funnel, and then you get into the funnel website. Real quick before I go to Brittany, something that came up when Isadore was telling us about her experience is that, so her being in the Web3 space and getting to go and perform and be on stage and be a legend, right? Because I see her as a legend. So a fan, somebody that is unbeknownst to her, that just loves her for her music, they could care less about where she gets it and how she gets it and how she made it happen. All they know is that she was on that stage. All they know is that they got to feel what it felt like to see her on stage and to be in her most authentic self. So it doesn't matter how you get it. It doesn't matter where you go get it. Obviously, I recommend keeping it legal, stay out of jail, because we're not going to do that. Like, hard drive's not going to be like, yo, free such and such. Like, Mickey was a freestyle. That was the hashtag. Free Mickey was just freestyle. She wasn't in jail. So, like, we're not trying to do all that. But ultimately, get it how you live and go for it. Like, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Like, if there's people, for example, Gio spoke up, Architect spoke up, Michaela has offered her time so generously that's no longer available, but I'm here. I can answer questions. I do business all the time, all kinds of freelance and all kinds of other stuff. And it's not because I'm trying to get you to talk to me. It's that I'm trying to get you to talk to anybody that has experience. Like, don't be afraid to ask those questions. Don't be afraid to show that, right now things aren't exactly how you wish they were. It's not necessary to move like that. Like you're trying to impress the wrong people. Your fans are only going to see you doing what you love to do, and they're going to be your fan regardless. And the people that are around you that are trying to, put on this very serious front about, oh, well, all I do, man, look at these plaques. You know what I'm saying? Like, all I do is these plaques. All I do is, listen, man, I've seen people with plaques, they ain't got no money. Like, straight up. I've seen people with hundreds of billions.
And Michaela was one of them. She talked about it in her book, Plaques on the Wall, $800 made from music that year.
Period. I mean, I went over to somebody's house, a songwriter, and I knew they were on mad, like, dope, crazy 100 billion stream shit. And I walked in and I was like, this is very small. And I wasn't judging. I was just like, I want you to be paid so much more for what you do, obviously. I mean, but everybody's situation is different. And if you're willing to accept it, people will treat you how you train them that you would like to be treated. If you're like, oh, I'll take anything, they're like, so you'll take $10? All right, bet. I got that $10 for you. You have to speak up for yourself and set the boundaries on how you operate. And if people don't know your value, go somewhere else, because people need to know your value. And if you don't know your value yet, then start asking around, because your mirrors around you, your closest circle, they're going to let you know more or less where you stand and how you can operate from that place. Brittany?
You can come back to me. There's a car alarm going off.
I love that. Isadore?
I was going to say that I agree with your point. Most people don't care how you get there. They're just excited to be there. But for the super duper duper invested fans, which I'm starting to realize what that looks like for me, the people who are willing to pay $100 for, an NFT of a song of mine, or make any type of financial investment towards anything that I'm doing, they do care. They do care. And that is such a alarming experience for me, because I have realized how much I don't like sharing about my process, or I'm like, just enjoy the fucking music. Is it not good? Did it not sound good? Did I not hit the note? But I realized that for people who do care, they actually want more of that context, and they want to feel like they're welcome into your world. So obviously you do what works for you, but I'm finding that people don't care. Like, most people they really don't care. So you just got to go do it, and you got to go get it however it is that you get it. But as far as how you got to the point that you are, how you've leveraged all of the resources that you had, people like to see somebody that they feel like, wow, like that's a story. Like you didn't have to make it. Like there were things stacked against you, but you still did it anyway. And they are absolutely doubly invested in that. Like when I share things about like whether it's like Spotify versus other ways of getting money, or I share the fact that I had a vocal injury and I lost my voice and I couldn't talk or sing. People are like, oh my gosh, that is crazy. And you are still singing. Good for you. And then they feel more invested. So there's like, like both parts of that, but like it's not to negate your point. It was just to expand on it.
No, absolutely. I think that it's more about they don't care about the how, they care about you. And they invest in you. They want to see you. They care about your story. They care about what you had to go through. They could care less if you're currently at the boiling crab. Like they're like, okay, shit, like you getting it and you showed up. Here's how a super fan, because I'm a fan first. Like I'm a collector. I'm somebody that's really into the storyline and the bloodline of where things come from, right? So for me, it's about all of that happened and you were still there for me to see, because as a fan you essentially show up for them, because that's how fans feel. They feel like you're singing about them, singing to them. They feel like they're in your life, right? So like you went through all of that for me in some weird twisted way, right? That's like the distant perspective of a fan. And so they could care less what you went through. They care about you and they want you to be okay. And that's where the, you know what, let me creak open this wallet real quick. Let me send this, 0.05 ETH or whatever. Like, let me make sure that I'm showing my appreciation for you showing up for me and all of us over here, right? And so like that's the vibe, and I love it. I mean, at the end, we're all trying to cultivate just real relationships, and that's something that's happening obviously here at Hard Drive. But like that's what we're trying to impart upon you, to be authentic, because I think that that's something that you can do repeatedly. You can show up as yourself. You can go up as who you see yourself as repeatedly with very little thought. You don't have to like turn it on. You're already Isidore, right? So that's what we love about you. I'm gonna go to Brittany, if that alarm is off.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, the alarm's gone. So this was in response to what Gazelle was asking about, like how to stay on track. So for me, social media and email are real bad. Like I'm just tethered to it pretty much. So Michaela made the suggestion, like check it for an hour each day. I don't do that, but I do have, well, I don't follow it yet. It's a work in progress, but basically I have 15-minute chunks where it's like check what's going on, and then basically put the phone away somewhere else, like turn it down, face down if you have to, because you can't predict who's going to be interrupting you, blowing you up, etc. So that really helps me if I have to focus on something. I just like totally shut it down for that time period.
Absolutely. And Nakar the monster with the baby chilling, he's going to tell you how to do it as a parent. Like, come on, bro. Like you can't get more real than that.
Hey, what's up, y'all? So I just wanted to share two things that helped me build my business. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so like the first one is figuring out the exact like person that I serve, like figure out who your client is. Because like not everybody's gonna like your services. You know what I'm saying? So that's the one thing that helped me become successful. I identified my niche, I found my tribe, if you will, and then I tailored my services to that tribe, similar to how Hard Drive does it. Hard Drive has a specific customer in mind. So that's one thing. The second thing is prospecting. For all my salespeople here, prospecting is really the act of actively looking for clients. So I have to block out time, like hours every day, looking for the type of client that I want to work with. So if your business is failing, or if you're not like, getting the type of results you want, maybe you're just not prospecting. Either you're not prospecting enough every day, or you're just going after the wrong people. So kind of figure out those two things. And once you figure it out, then you're out of here,
Amazing. And thank you so much. I don't know what kind of Harry Potter spell you got on your baby that is just chilling, like just on the shoulder, not moving. That's amazing. But yes, I mean,
it's your voice. Teaches that.
The baby whisperer.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That has the same effect on my wife. I start talking and she just goes to sleep. That's crazy. Yeah, man, I think you got to be prospecting, and that's another word for outreach. Stay in love, baby. You got you got to be letting people know. And that goes back to what Architect said. And I'm so sorry for all those TVMA words I was using earlier in the car. I didn't know the baby was there. So you have to be posting what you do, because here's the thing, people might think they know you, like they've seen you a couple times on Instagram, but they don't know what you do. That, like, literally seeing Architect post about building that crowd chant beat was so fun to watch, because I know he has the capability, but seeing it happen is it's a different perspective. It's a different third dimensional perspective on what's really happening. So again, it's just a fan's perspective. I'm gonna go to James.
Yeah, I got one more thing before we move
for
on
it.
from that. There's a discussion about being consistent or having like a stable business. Prospecting will help you predict how stable your business is. So, for example, if you're only prospecting 2 hours, you'll start to figure out, okay, if I prospect for 2 hours, I'm making X amount of dollars, right? But if you're slacking off on your prospecting, then you can expect that money to go down, right? So, for me, like I got humans depending on me, so I got to be there prospecting, like no matter what. So that's like the so some people, I know some people were talking about how do you like pick and choose, or like how do you manage my time? Well, like for me, if I don't prospect, my kids don't eat, so I don't know, that like I guess it's easier for me to manage my time because my kids got to eat, yo. So that's how it is. So if you want to
That's
be
what he
stable,
should call his TED Talk. My kids gotta eat.
my kids gotta eat.
Bro, that's fire.
That's
All
hard.
That's a mixtape intro. See,
Sheesh.
if I don't work, my kids gotta eat. Dun, dun, let's get them.
My kids gotta eat. That's the new City Girl anthem.
Yeah, so just prospect every day, and your business will be all right. You're not gonna go on a roller coaster.
Yo,
So you
Nikar
said your
is the
business
sales.
is gonna be right.
Nikar is the sales Nate dog. He said prospect every day. I love that shit, man. Congratulations on all your continued success, because you have popped up on damn near every release week that I've seen. You're doing it, man. And really, it's hard to let people know what they could be doing for themselves, because it always sounds kind of preachy, but I think you're coming from the first person and letting them know what worked for you, which I love. So thank you so much for that, DJ Nikar. James?
Yeah, what's good, everybody? I just wanted to come on here and like introduce myself. I'm kind of shy sometimes, but I'm the personal trainer, and I offer services to Hard Drive as a personal trainer. We meet on Wednesdays at either 8 a.m. or 12 p.m., but I think I'm gonna go back to 12 p.m. I'm trying to find other days that I'm trying to find other days that'll work so I can help more people and provide or be available for more of you guys. But right now we're on Wednesdays at 12. And so that's how I make make money around business. And thankfully now I'm completely independent. Uh, I appreciate all you guys that have been to the workouts, but I'm completely independent, freelancing. I'm a personal trainer. I'm also an actor. I've been in national commercials and things, short films and things like that. So I've had the residuals coming in, and like you were talking about earlier, it's nice to get residuals in the mail and it's nice to receive those checks, but eventually those checks are gonna stop. And so you gotta have a plan for, and you gotta be doing something else for that particular moment, even though it's nice. And then I wish I had known more about different ways to invest and other things to do with that money. But I was able to buy a house and travel and get married and stuff like that. So anyway, I'm trying to figure out how now to get back into music. Joining Hard Drive was my way of like coming back into the industry or whatever. So I haven't released much. I have one song out, but I've got like 60 cents off of that one. So that's some change right there. But nah, so I plan to work with you guys more, and it's cool to get on here and talk to you guys and listen to all of your brilliant ideas and things like that. And so I appreciate all that. And hopefully one day I'll get some music out, but I'll try to get one of those, one of the sessions on Fridays where you can like review the songs, a feedback session. And I'll get with Elusive. Him and I are supposed to be, yeah, I hope to, interact with y'all more. Appreciate it.
I was
Thank
like, he muted for anybody else besides me?
No,
Johnny was
thank you.
nodding his head. I
He
was like,
went in the
maybe it's just
Matrix.
me.
I had to keep it moving. The show must go on. He said, me and Elusive.
Booty Tang.
So we didn't
The new
catch
Wait.
what you and Elusive were doing. So maybe you want to run that back. You and Elusive are?
Oh, my bad. Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, we're talking about adding a nutrition class as well to the thing, so we can do workouts and we can talk about nutrition. Because the more we stay active, the more creative we can be, the better we feel about ourselves, the more confident we are, and the better we feed ourselves, the more nourished we are, the better we'll be able to perform. Dehydration plays a huge role in how we show up in life. So, I'm happy to help all you guys about all that stuff too.
Yes, thank you so much for that. And it goes into what Hard Drive really stands for, which is just caring about creators as a whole, right? It's not just their mentality, it's not just their mindset, it's not just their pocket, it's not just their, physical being, it's them as entire humans. And so I think that that's just lovely, man. I appreciate you jumping on. And absolutely, I mean, Hard Drive is to me such it's like a wrecking ball, right? It's just knocking down all these walls and barriers where people are like, oh, but I'm a personal trainer or I'm an actor, I shouldn't be in music. Now I've seen multi-hyphenates kind of be the new, kind of catch-all, right? Because I know people that act, and so when they can say, I'm an actress, I'm a mental health advocate, and I'm a singer, now all of a sudden, you're painting a picture to anybody that's almost doing anything entertainment related. They're like, well, we could use a singer, or we could use some music, or we can use, a personal trainer, or we could use a nutritionist, like being able to show off. And that's kind of the opposite of what we were talking about in the beginning, right? Where creators are pigeonholing themselves into just this one thing. You're actually exploring and being able to sprawl out into all the different strengths, and really we collect so much experience over our lifetime that to narrow it down and say, I only want to be compensated for this one thing, it's actually really a block. And it's an energetic, it's a mental block that we present, and we say like, no, I don't want these opportunities over here. I only want these opportunities. You're going to limit yourself. And we don't want you to limit yourself. What I would want instead is for you to try all the different porridges and then find the ones you like the best. Maybe you like it because it pays the most. Maybe you like it. Like recently, I've been working with a lot of educators and people in the teaching space. And I mean, for all intents and purposes, if you know anything about the economics around being a teacher, they don't make exorbitant amounts of money. But for them to still be teachers, it's because of a calling that they have, right? So there's so much respect and admiration for them and their profession. And so I apply that same, method to everything that I do, because I should feel good about what I'm doing. And it's like, if you go to the drive-through or something, maybe not you, but everybody else, like if we all go to the drive-through at like 2 a.m. and we're like, why is this person so rude? It's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning. Who wants to be working at the fast food restaurant? Nobody, right? So they're not excited to be there, and you shouldn't be excited to be there either. Like, yeah, take care of yourself. But end of the day, we're here trying to work on ourselves as entire beings. And I thank you all for just being here, because I think that this is the beginning of the entire new music industry, where we can treat each other with respect. We can pay each other on time for our services. We can, show up and actually show each other that mutual respect. So congratulations and kudos to all of you guys. We will be back in 7 days. Get your verification badges from Architect. Get your nutrition
Tap
plan.
in. I got
Tap in. We're going to start.
Those messages be that exact, like, bad grammar too.
Tap in.
Get
42.65 a month. I got y'all.
We're going to work on the new HGTV show, Architect Flips Houses. And you know what I'm saying? It's just, it don't stop over here, man. We just going to keep on creating. But love y'all. Be back in 7 days. Need anything? Reach out. Boiling Crab Fest. Yes, let's go. Reach out on email, DM, Johnny@harddrive.com, Johnny Wisdom on IG. Peace.